Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Please Put Them On Takamine-san, Season 1, Episode 3. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, we're picking up with she's being asked to deliver some books or something to a classroom, and these guys are like, oh, we'd love to help you, and Koshi doesn't immediately jump to his duty and doesn't recognize what he's supposed to do in this moment. She's kind of disappointed and is like, all right, let's do this again. Takes off her underwear and rewinds time, and then he pieces it together. My job is to be her closet, so wherever she goes, I have to go with her. And she's making that point, and he's like, right, I'll go with you and take this with you. And so later on, he has to put her underwear on. She's like, see, you made me kind of waste. I had to go through that just to teach you a lesson. Now do you understand your duties? So he's kind of like, yeah, I understand. And it's kind of interesting she went that far just for the lesson, because I felt like she was going to rewind time, but I just didn't know what the purpose would have been to do it. But it was right, to get Koshi to realize I shouldn't even have to ask you. She immediately be like, yo, let me jump on it. Anywhere she goes, I need to immediately tag along, because she might need to be in a situation where she needs to remove her underwear and rewind time, and I need to be right by her side. So there's that. But yeah, along the way, they get stopped by some students when they're, like I said, on their way to deliver that stuff. And on the what was interesting though was all these students stopped her, and she's talking to them, and she knows them by name, and it's like, oh yeah, you got I think one, she's like, you got this baseball game coming, no, or you had some practice match with a school. She knows each and every student's name and what's going on with their school life. And Koshi's really impressed by that, because it makes sense. It's wow, all those, because he even says wow, that's pretty impressive, because it's that must be pretty tiring, dealing with all those people. She's like, could you not make it seem like I was just in an orgy? This is a porn and I was in an orgy. She's like, if it was a porn, it'd only be a one-on-one. And then they showed the scene that they showed, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And when I'm seeing this, I was like, it's almost like watching a hentai. But then it's well, Ichi's literally one hop and a skip away from being a full-blown hentai, so it borderlines on hentai anyway. But still, once again, I could be such a prude about that stuff, but like I said, it just kind of catches me off guard sometimes. I wasn't just, because now I'm also like, yo, was that in the manga, or did the animators just kind of freestyle right there? I want to cut them some bail and be like, I'm sure that's something straight out of the manga, but I'm just I don't know, man. But he's like, no, the fact is, all these people's name. And for her response to that is, well, I am the student council president, and they know my name and my face, and they know me, and it feels only right that I get to know everyone. She's like, I learned everyone's name and everything about them on day one. Now, I'm curious, did she have to rewind time a couple of times to get that right, just to memorize that? But it's no, she's really smart and gifted, so she probably did memorize it all in one day. And it's oh, her reason for doing that. It's right, as a student council president, it's only fair that I do that. They go into the trouble of knowing me, I should do the same. And at first, Koshi's like, oh, wow, because she doesn't want to let them down. But immediately she's like, no, because if I don't, that feels like I'm losing. They have an advantage over me. And it's that's not a win or lose type of situation. But it also fits into the narrative. Once again, she wants to be perfect in every capacity and way. And knowing every student and kind of knowing who they are, just showing how amazing and impressive she is, adds into the legend and the amazingness that is, Takamine. So it makes sense. But she also talks about some stuff she knows about Koshi. She's like, yeah, I took a deep dive into people. She's like, at first, she's like, I know a little bit, certain things about people. So she knows what classes that Koshi isn't doing well in, that he's got low self-esteem, kind of a weak-minded personality, this and that. And he's like, okay, please stop crapping on me. But then he's like, wow, you really, do you take a deep dive into other people like that? And she kind of stops, and she's like, what are you saying? Are you saying that I only took a deep dive into you like that? Stop being such a basically a self-conceited person. And it's yes, you can tell immediately with her response, she did. He's the only person she took a deep dive into, that, because she never used anyone else, for example. Why would you? But it's no, she got embarrassed because she doesn't want him to know that I mean, he was asking genuinely because he's like, wow, you took this deep dive in me. I can only imagine what type of deep dive. Like, it never crossed his mind to think you only took a deep dive in him. That's not what he was asking. He was just assuming, like, well, if you took this deeper dive into me, that must mean you took a deep dive into everyone else. But she didn't. And she's just like, oh, yeah, you're a pervert and stuff like that. He's like, wait, perv? She's like, yes, the fact of the matter is that you spied on me changing and you really enjoyed it. She's even saying, like, it's to the point now because you are my personal closet, you can look, but you refuse to. And that's what she was kind of get caught up on. It's like, why is that? He's like, well, I just assumed that you wouldn't want me to look, so that's why I don't. And so she's like, okay, but what if I told you I do? And she's kind of leaning on him, unbuttoning her shirt, like pressing her chest against him. And it's like, go ahead, like, I'm telling you, you can. And he's just like, no. And he's kind of like thinking about it because he's like, is she serious? Because he knows, like, she's constantly always messing with him. But then he finally goes, no, like, that should be something that only happens if we were going out. And she's like caught off guard by him saying that, but then she laughs. It's like, oh, it feels kind of funny that you would kind of, I can't believe you had that perspective on it. She's like, but it does make it seem like you're thinking like us getting together could be in the realm of possibility. But she's like, I'm not going to completely discount that. And she kind of walks away. So, like I said, it does seem like she likes him and she uses this whole situation as an excuse to get close to him. Like, that's why I'm wondering, has she always liked him? Just like he's always kind of admired her from afar, but he still deals with the thing is she treats him like crap in private, like, you know, that master-servant relationship. Once again, she's on her, like, Ojo-sama, like, you know, status. But, you know, he's like, I really wish you would keep this. I wish you would keep it like the same, like how you act around other people. I wish even when it was just us, you'd act the same way. But flustered with the whole situation, Koshi loses his balance and falls down the stairs and has a pretty nasty fall. When he wakes up, he learns from Takamine, she's like, oh, I actually rewound time because the fall was super bad and you were still unconscious, which is like interesting because obviously with the exception of her underwear, the status of, once again, and even Koshi now being a part of all of this, those are the only things that change when she undoes something. But to know that whatever state Koshi is in, and even Takamine, I guess, to some extent, I mean, it's like, right, when time rewounds, like her underwear disappears, it's not like they go back on, they just disappear. But it's like, that's it's the price to be paid when it comes to the rewind. I wonder, is the argument for that is like when she rewinds time, she's technically leaving her underwear in the time where she took them off, and that's why, like, when she rewinds, it keeps her in a state of what she was in, and she lost her underwear when she. I wonder, is that the justification for that? It's not just like magically like, oh, your underwear is the price. I mean, it's still the trigger for it. I wonder, is there a deeper thing to? I mean, once again, it's the eternal virgin row, but also like maybe it's a little bit of like you have to do something embarrassing to kind of trigger that, and that involves taking your underwear off in a very public place or something. But I'm just wondering what's the like nitty gritty of like how that works. Once again, do you need to know the details? No, but I kind of get like very like, I don't know if neurotic would be the right word, but I get like very caught in the details of stuff like that because I'm curious like how that works. But I'd never thought about that until now. It's like, is that the justification for it? She's technically leaving her underwear in that timeline, and when she rewind time and undoes it and creates a new timeline, once again, time travel rules, some stuff is like, oh, those timelines, even though you're not a part of them anymore, they still exist. Or is this one of those things where it's like, no, technically that timeline no longer exists. The moment you went back and chose and followed a different path and did this differently, you created a branch timeline, and that original timeline disappeared forever. So that might be, once again, the justification why her underwear is gone. But I'm getting into the nitty gritty of it just to talk about, you know, once, as I brought up, that Koshi woke up, like, even when she undid it and made it so he never fell, he's still unconscious because he was in an unconscious state at the time she rewound and undid it. I was like, that's interesting to know, and I'm sure they're going to utilize that more and more going forward. Because we've always been focused on the state of what Takamine was in when she was rewinding time, never really Koshi, and this was our first time really tackling that. So I thought that was fascinating. But even Koshi had asked, like, yo, how bad was it for you to go back in time? Oh, you said it was bad, but, like, how bad was it for you to feel the need to go back in time to kind of undo it? So, But obviously she's letting him rest a little bit, but it's like, right, I don't have new underwear on, so try not to like go too deep. He's like, I'm getting up. But because it's so late in the school day, he's like, oh, it's the evening, so I missed that like extra kind of a makeup class for PE, and it was a thing they're supposed to like run I think a certain amount of distance under like, what was it, like 30 minutes or something. And obviously for him, it's like, I want to kind of come in first place, but I never do. And this could have been a good opportunity for me to train. So Takamine takes it upon herself to oversee the class. And it's like, okay, you guys run. And sadly, Koshi comes in last. Well, he gets stopped because she's like, oh, I'm gonna give you the perfect posture. Your posture is horrendous. Now use this form and get first place. And no, get here under 30 minutes, and he couldn't. And for her, it's a thing of, yes, the initial thought is, well, she wants to be perfect. They saw that she gave him advice, and that's kind of that's a failure on her part. It's a mark against her. Like, oh, my guidance wasn't good enough to push him to get to that point. But the main reason is she wants Koshi to have more confidence in himself, and so she rewinds time, and they have to start again, and Koshi's still kind of falling behind. But the motivation he needed was Takamine, because she's on the bike and she's lifting herself up. And if anyone sees her from behind, will clearly see she's not wearing underwear. So Koshi's like running super fast to stay behind her and basically cock block everyone else who could get, their pervy eyes on her type of thing. And because of it, Koshi got there not only under 30 minutes, he also got there in first place. And he didn't even recognize it because he wasn't focused on that. He was just focused on protecting Takamine. So, and she asked him, like, how does it make you feel? And like I said, he never really gave it much thought. And now he's thinking about it. He's like, it doesn't close the gap between where she is and where I am, but it makes him feel good about himself. He's like, yeah, it feels good. Like, for the first time, I'm the first in something. It obviously makes me think about Mob from Mob Psycho. So you immediately think, especially because it's not the same, but it's kind of similar in a lot of regards. Especially because like Mob has low self-esteem, and so does Koshi. And hey, as one of the sad boys low self-esteem club, I feel seen as well. But Takamine like feels happy about it because like seeing him kind of shimmer with pride a little bit. She likes seeing that shade on him. So it's like, all right, let's go home. But then she notices that he still has her bag, and she's texting like, yo, like, I only have one set of sports underwear and they're in that bag. Oh, well, like, and he's like, oh, I got to rush over. But then he's like, wait, what am I doing? Our dynamic only applies in school because she needs someone to basically give her underwear, but she's at home. She can put her own underwear on. Because at first he's like, this has got to be a test. But then he's like, no, like if I like go along, this is just going to be her using me as a gopher outside of school. For him, it's like our dynamic of me following around her as her closet only applies at school. Right? And he's debating that, and she's texting him like, oh, I'm wearing this. I'm not going to be wearing underwear. I'm going braless and no underwear because I don't have my sports stuff, and I'm just going to wear this. Oh, I'm outside. And Koshi's debating like, should I do it? Should I not? It's like, it's fine, even though she's taking pictures in public, and I know the park she's going to be at from the photo, but he's like, it's going to be fine. But then he thinks about it. She's not wearing any underwear. So if something does happen to her, she won't be able to rewind time. So he feels responsibility. And so while she's at the park sitting, because she was hoping he'd show up, she didn't know if he would, but she was hoping that he would. And after sending all those photos and stuff, she was actually going to text him like it was a joke. But when he shows up, she was actually really happy because she's like, oh, like, look, you're super slow, but good on you for showing up, But she really appreciated it because I think there was a part of her that didn't know if he would. But she's like, yeah, it's good on you that I mean, granted, you were slow getting here, but at least I didn't have to tell you. You're doing your good job as a closet, knowing when to show up. And so he ends up saying like, right, I just didn't know if something might happen to you. You don't have any underwear on. She's like, oh, right. And then she's basically like, oh, did you like fantasize and like have one of your little cuckold fantasies about me getting assaulted? And he's like, no, Jesus, no. He's like, I was just worried about you. And she blushes because she's like, oh, like, so you were worried about me. And she's like, okay, fine. Thank you. And then she's like, what? You didn't hear me the first time? Fine, I'll say it. thank you for like being worried about me, and kind of says like, um continue worrying about me going forward, and even feels her bag of underwear being like, oh, it's kind of warm. He's like, yeah, I held onto it tight rushing here. She's like, okay. Or did you do something very perverted with them? And he was like, no. So um this whole thing also kind of got Koshi thinking about things and put things in perspective for him, because he's almost like, why am I willing to go? He's like, I never really thought about it, but why am I currently doing, like, it isn't just about the whole like it isn't just about the cause it thing. It's also like I am going above and beyond, way further than I technically would need to for her, and I'm perfectly fine with it too. It's like, yeah, because he already liked her and crushed on her, but now it's like they are also in a very unique position because of all that. Because she had brought up the fact is that they are in a very unique position because he gets to know a side of her no one else does. It's something that only he gets to share this with her. So it is kind of like, it kind of brings them closer. He knows something about her no one else does. And so she appreciates all this because it brings them closer, and he's starting to appreciate it because it brings them closer. So I've pretty much guessed, especially after episode 1, is like she definitely likes him. It's just, why is she going so above and beyond? And has she liked him the entire time? Because they've been in school together for a long time. They've even been in the same classes before this, I think. But it's like, yeah, they never really talked, and I don't know if that was just because of the persona she built up around herself made it hard to just be around him. So she looked for the perfect excuse to create a situation where they can get closer, because it allows her to kind of be herself in a way she can't be with anyone else, by telling them the truth about her circumstances and having this powerful secret with someone else. It puts him in once again a very unique relationship, and she appreciates it. That, like I said, that's just my question of when does she start liking him, and what is the exact reasons why she goes to such lengths that she does just to like be close to him, even though she would never admit it, but it's clearly written on her face and the little expression she tries to hide from him. So another very, very interesting episode. It's going to be interesting to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.